Call of Duty, one of my favorite things to do in Call of Duty is to play through the campaigns. When people think of Call of Duty campaigns, they probably think of Black Ops 1 or 2, and also probably the Modern Warfare campaigns. But one of the campaigns that stands out to me personally from the rest is Call of Duty World at War. Call of Duty World at War is one of my favorite Call of Duty campaigns. What makes this campaign stand out to me the most is just how dark it is and how brutal it depicts war. You will see war crimes, soldiers absolutely getting obliterated by artillery, grenades, and machine guns. And even on the Soviet side, you have to make choices, morally gray choices, where the outcome is honestly, well, both outcomes aren't great, but some are better than the other. The color palette that they use for the settings your missions are taking place in is honestly awesome. Like, if you're on the Soviet side, it's got a grayish tone, especially in the very first mission as the Soviets, Vendetta. It's a snowy, gray, overcast look, and it really shows the dread of the situation the Soviets were in at this point in the war. And then if you go over to the American side on the Pacific Theater, it's like sunny, but it's still kind of darkish in a way. Because like the very first mission, you're on the island Makin Atoll. I hope I pronounced that right, but Makin Atoll, and you're literally about to be executed by a Japanese officer before Roebuck and Pulaski and all them show up and save you and stuff. And one of the Marines that you're with, he doesn't make it out. But it's the same situation in a way with the very first mission on the Soviet side. You start off in a fountain on Vendetta, and there's just dead Soviet soldiers everywhere. A couple of them are still alive, but wounded, and you got the Germans just walking over them and just putting them down and stuff, and it really sets the tone for the game. And I don't really feel like newer Call of Duties do that anymore. And it's one of the reasons why this Call of Duty, I like it so much, is because honestly it used to scare me when I was little, because I thought all war was like this, and that's what Call of Duty World at War does. It shows some of the stuff that was happening during World War II, especially on the Eastern Front. Now, with all that out of the way, I can finally get into some of the things that make Call of Duty World at War my favorite Call of Duty. And I'm not going to really talk about like the multiplayer much, because when I was growing up, I wasn't able to play the multiplayer. I mainly played the campaign, so that's what I'm mainly going to be focusing on. And also, this was the first Call of Duty to introduce Call of Duty Zombies, a very beloved game mode that's been around since 2008. And this Call of Duty is where that all started. I'll talk a little bit about the zombies part, but it's mainly going to be about the campaign. What I love about this campaign is it's also the first Call of Duty to introduce a co-op campaign. There's only 2 other Call of Duties that I believe have that, and that is Black Ops 3 and also Black Ops 7. But I haven't played Black Ops 7's campaign, so I don't know much about that. I have done Black Ops 3's campaign, and I played it co-op before, and it was alright, but Call of Duty World at War's campaign on co-op is extremely fun, especially if you're playing on Veteran. And as everybody knows who's played this game, Veteran on World at War is very difficult because the enemies basically have aimbot. You'll get shot a couple times and you're basically stunned in a way. The grenade spam, the infamous grenade spam, you're constantly just tossing enemy grenades back to them, but it's always a blast when you're on co-op, though. It makes it a lot more fun. More frustrating if you're doing it by yourself, but that's why the co-op campaign's so awesome. Also, I did not know you can lean on PC until I started playing it on a computer, and I thought that was really cool. Kinda wish that was on console, but I understand why it wasn't. And there's a really cool Easter egg on the mission Little Resistance where you can get a ray gun and use it for the rest of the mission. And it's pretty simple to do.
MG now! Hit the back!一本なりの目標を本土に近づけるべからず。米軍は勢力を持って拡大しつつあるが、我が軍は徹底してこれを阻止する。繰り返す。司令部を死守せよ。これ以上敵軍を。
This is just some things that I really like about COD World at War. You know, this was the last of the World War II Call of Duties during the golden age of Call of Duty, and I believe they left it off on a very strong note and stuff. And eventually we did get back into the World War II era again with Call of Duty World War II and then Call of Duty Vanguard, which I'm not going to talk too much about them. World War II was okay. Vanguard, I couldn't even beat the campaign, honestly. But those are just some things, you know. And then, not only that, you got the zombies. There was, I think, 4 maps. There was Nocturne Toten, Verrucht, Shinonuma, and also Duris. And they were all very solid maps for this new game mode that they made. And I will probably make another video on zombies because I believe that deserves its own video. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about some things that I really liked about Call of Duty World at War. It's one of my favorite campaigns. It's probably not my favorite multiplayer because I didn't really get to play the multiplayer because whenever I was able to play it, it was already hacked pretty bad. But this was a short little video, and if you guys liked it, you know, just let me know in the comments. Comment down below what your favorite Call of Duty campaign was or what you loved about World at War's campaign that I've probably missed. And I appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one.